Every month is significant, Taurus, and this month is no different. September 2018 I'm talking about. I'm Dadhichi from astrology.com.au. Thanks for your company. Have a look here in the upper part of your horoscope. A few things I want to point out this month, because the important transit on the 11th takes place when Mars, which has been somewhat hamstrung with its retrograde movement, along with these other planets, you can see pretty much all of them. Jupiter's not now, but Uranus still is, Neptune. The nodes generally are in retrogression. Pluto and Saturn. So Mars went direct recently, and on the 11th it's going to move into this very powerful upper part of your horoscope, which has to do with your profession, your career, all those professional activities, to a large extent your self-esteem. An interesting aspect of this in that Mars is ruling your 7th house of partnerships, but also the 12th house of loss or expense. I've just got a sense here this has to do with expense that is of a physical nature. So I'm getting the inkling here that while Mars was retrogressing here in your 9th house of good fortune, educational pursuits, there may have been information you needed to brush up on, people you needed to contact before you could effectively make some firmer decision in your life. But I think that's all going to happen. And then another specific component here that we see is the forward motion of Saturn, which you'll see a little later when I get the animation going, which I'll do right now. We see it moving here firstly in your 4th house of family, and at that point around the 7th and 8th there could be some squabbles in the family as Mars has its opposition glance on the moon, then Mercury, and then of course the all-important new moon and full moon phases that we look at each month. Here we see the moon in the 5th house, which is creativity, which is children. This is connecting with your inner child, and having the new moon, sun and Mercury in this area. Mercury is very powerfully placed in Virgo, really puts a spin on things in the direction of creativity, and possibly that has to do with the fact that Mars, now moving in its motion, forward motion, gives you a greater sense of satisfaction and, well, confidence and satisfaction in that confidence. I think it also has a bit to do with the fact that here we see, I'm just having a look here, Venus has just also snuck into this 7th house or partnership sector, and Mars is relating to this. So there's some good energy, I think, associated with your partnerships, collaborating with someone you feel close to. And here we see the creative component coming through in the new moon in the 5th house. For parents that are watching this has a lot to do with getting down and really connecting and listening to your children, listening to younger people, not just so that you can get on better with them, but because this affords you the opportunity to find that sweet spot in your experience day to day, moment by moment. Being childlike is indeed the way to, find that happiness and produce better work as well. Now, I wanted to talk also this month about the remedial aspects, because it's pointless talking about astrology if you're not going to talk about how you fix some of these problems that are occurring. Here we see the movement of Mars in the 10th house, as we've been alluding to. The better planets for you are Venus, and Saturn actually is the El Primo planet. Mercury is the other planet ruling your 5th house, which is good for you. You can wear a diamond for life. The life gem for Taurus is a diamond, according to my system of astrology. And that is more if you're born in the second half of Taurus. For those of you born in the earlier part, according to Vedic astrology, you'd be born under the sign of Aries. So some of the red gems would work better for you. But generally speaking, diamond and also the blue sapphire is very steadying. Notice here too, that after the 10th, Saturn is moving into its forward motion. So this is important. Whatever you were doing there to recalibrate your efforts educationally, professionally, Saturn as the educator in your horoscope, and the luckiest planet, by the way, ruling both the 9th and the 10th places, brings with it some positive signals for you as well. We see here strong connections after the 13th and 14th in terms of your relationships, your personal relationships, marriage, and then around the 16th, the shared resources sector is triggered by the moon here, and some deeper issues as well. Intimate aspects of your nature will come to the fore. A little difficult here when moon conjoins the Saturn and Pluto in the 9th house. That could have some legal ramifications or some delays associated with those educational pursuits that I was talking about. High-powered work efforts here after the 21st, and then we see the strong connection with Neptune in the 11th house on the 24th, signaling strong relationships and connections there, maybe even with business partners. It's the important full moon that we see here on the 25th, the Tuesday, and that's occurring in your 12th house. The 12th house is a spiritual segment, Taurus. It has a lot to do with squaring off your debts, especially because we see here just after the 22nd and 23rd a double whammy here with Mercury and Sun moving into the 6th house, which is also a debt sector. Look here, the beautiful triangular aspect to Mars in this upper part of your horoscope, indicating that you'll feel better. Obviously you feel better paying off debts. But here we see a component which is signaling maybe some karmic debts. These are not always financial debts. Maybe squaring off things with people you've not gotten on well with. You know, burying the hatchet and, you know, just letting bygones be bygones. It's an important way to complete the month here. There may be some abrupt issues around the 28th and 29th, but certainly the way to peace of mind is to naturally work through some of these issues, and that is exactly what's being shown here, especially after the 28th, towards the very last part of the month. That full moon energy, getting a dose of excitability from Uranus, casting its influence on this very, very lucky Jupiter-Venus component in your 7th house of marriage and business partnerships. Very end of the month, but I think a way to really look forward to some enhanced relationships. Yeah, Western astrologers are not all too keen on the opposition aspect, but in my traditional form of astrology, we see some good stuff going on here, especially because Moon is ruling your 3rd house of communications. This is the way to break through, make use of some of the positive influences that we see here. This is one of the luckiest, by the way, Venus and Jupiter. So if things haven't been working out, that's possibly the debt that needs to be squared off now to usher you into a better month in October. And I will see you then, but hopefully before then you'll take a visit to astrology.com.au and get your daily dose, yearly dose as well. We've got the yearly horoscopes and a whole lot of free oracles, psychic readings there for you, for your pleasure. Take care and see you next month. Bye-bye.